Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Jacqui Van Ham, your girl in the know for all things motorcycle. Welcome back to your middle of the week motorcycling event and news roundup, like I like to do. Holy smokes, I haven't said that in a long time. There is indeed a couple of motorcycling events on the horizon. Hooray! Hooray! Finally, some kick-ass stuff going on in event life here in motorcycling. Today's news show is going to cover a couple of different things that have been in the news the past week or so. Some news from Harley-Davidson, some more news about Dakar, some more news. What else do I have going on? Some American flat track motorcycle racing, and then my events for this weekend. I think both the ones that are going, I think it's all racing. I think it's all racing stuff that's going on in January for this month. So, as always, thank you for tuning in to our overseas viewers. Hola, konnichiwa, guten tag, bonjour, and bonjour. No, thank you for watching. I can see you in the comments, so feel free to peek in and say hello to me. Let me know where you're tuning in from. To all of our top fans, welcome back, top fans. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. So let's get down to it. First things first, out here in the news, an eagle eye over at motorcycle.com picked up on the fact that Harley-Davidson's website has indeed changed up in the past handful of months. From November 26th, which is the slide on the left hand, which is the image on the left-hand side of the screen, to January 11th, as you can see, there's a little bit of a change there. And it seems that not only, as I reported on this show a couple of weeks ago, not only are some of the new engine that the Pan America is based off of, not only are some of those bikes hidden or missing, or however you want to phrase it, off of the Harley-Davidson corporate website, some of the electric bike projects are kind of missing or hidden as well. So let's see what they've got going on over at motorcycle.com. The electric scooter concept is still listed on this page, but the flat track inspired middleweight has disappeared from the US version of the site. The middleweight was also removed from the UK version of this page, but in several other markets such as Canada, it is still there. So what's going on over there? So what does this mean? If we consider the US version to be the definitive version of Harley-Davidson's website, these changes suggest the company may be pivoting away from its original plans for electric motorcycles. Last month, we uncovered evidence that suggests the live wire may be discontinued after the 2021 model year. At the time, we doubted that would happen because the electric concepts were considered to be part of the company's future, with the live wire serving as the top-of-the-line Halo model. Today, that may no longer be the case. We reached out to Harley-Davidson for comment, and here is the response. As part of the Rewire, which is the new program put in place by the new CEO that took over Harley-Davidson last year, the new plan is called Rewire. It used to be called like All Roads to Harley or some other name like that, where they had tons of different things coming up in the future. The Rewire has totally slashed and burned a lot of these concepts, as well as a lot of staff, and they're closing a lot of dealerships. It's all about trimming the fat and cutting back right now from the current CEO as part of this Rewire program. Anyway, as part of the Rewire, Harley-Davidson is no longer commenting on future products prior to their formal introduction. Harley-Davidson is committed to lead the electrification of motorcycles. As pioneers in this space, we are proud of the accomplishments of Livewire to date, including achieving the #1 selling electric motorcycle in the US and an extraordinary global response. The folks over at Zero might have something to say about that, but we look forward to the bright future of electric motorcycles. We will be sharing more info along with our 5-year business strategy, the Hardwire, in early 2021. So, while there is a little bit of trimming of the fat and you're going to see some more bikes being cut out of the Harley-Davidson current plans, I think it's pretty smart that they are just trying to stick to only really featuring bikes on their corporate website that they know are going to actually be going to production. That way there's no more like foot in the mouth, which is what's going on right now, where the current plan promised all these bikes, and then, now that there's a new CEO, they're like, just kidding, all those bikes are gone. So they're kind of smart and kind of like keeping their cards a little bit closer to the chest, and I think that that's really what's going on with this story. Another bit of news in the Harley-Davidson, but really kind of Indian motorcycle neck of the woods, was the great race called King of the Baggers that was hosted by Moto America this past spring or summer. When the hell was it? It wasn't that long ago. Anyway, this past year they hosted a race called King of the Baggers. It was at Laguna Seca. And nobody really knew exactly how popular or not popular this race event was going to be. Well, it was a huge smash hit. They had hundreds of thousands of views over on all of their streaming platforms. People just love this. It was a total hoot watching these great big huge bikes race one of America's most iconic road racing racetracks. So the King of the Baggers series, needless to say, went off smashingly well, pun intended, for the folks over at Moto America. So they've decided to go ahead and extend that welcome into 2021, and they're going to be racing 5 of these King of the Baggers races as part of the Moto America race series for 2021. Naysayers be damned. The King of the Baggers debut at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca in November. Okay, so it was this past fall. Was a rousing success and will return to 2021 with 5-round series held in conjunction with the 2021 Moto America Superbike Series. The series, which adds fuel to the fire of one of the oldest rivalries in motorsport, Harley-Davidson versus Indian, will begin at Michelin Raceway in Atlanta. In April, it'll be in Georgia. It will be at Barber Motorsports Park in Alabama. There will be rounds at Road America, again at Laguna Seca, and Pittsburgh International Race Complex. So really, really cool news. The president, Wayne Rainey, who is another iconic, legendary American motorcycle road racer, the popularity of the event was crazy. So how could we not do more? We know there are plenty of bagger fans out there, as our videos of the debut Laguna Seca was watched by millions. So this is really, really cool news. I even thought this was a really neat, cool thing. I loved watching it. It was a hoot. The road racers thought it was really, really good fun. So this is a really neat, cool thing. I'm really excited about this. And another little bit of Harley-Davidson versus Indian motorcycle news. Staying on with the Harley-Davidson news, the winner of the Production Twins class this year, James Rispoli, who was out there on a Harley-Davidson, the XG750, he won the series this year for the Production Twins class. So for 2021, he's going to bump up to the Super Twins class, but he's going to remain on an XG750. This is quite a coup, because Harley-Davidson and Vance and Hines dissolved their partnership for the AFT series this past year. They ended the 2020 season and then announced that they were going to have the big breakup for 2021. So people have been really up in arms, because what the hell does that mean? There's no more factory type Harley-Davidson team going forward into 2021. Well, the reason they said they did that is because they wanted to be able to really focus on more of these privateer type efforts versus putting all the eggs in one basket. People are like, well, I mean, that's cool and all, but people haven't had time to work on this XG750 because it's always been in Vance and Hines' hands. They always kind of counted on them to carry the water, and now Vance and Hines is no longer a part of it with Harley-Davidson directly. That being said, James Rispoli and his Lattice, he's on Lattice Motors. They are partnered with Harley-Davidson in a way, you know, of course, or not Harley-Davidson, with Vance and Hines and Harley-Davidson. But again, it's a little bit more of a privateer type effort versus the great big Harley logo being on the top of the leathers. Lattice Motors Racing confirms James Rispoli as the 2021 AFT Super Twins pilot. He also goes by the nickname Hog Spoli because he was doing so well on that Harley-Davidson last year. After weeks of speculation, Lattice Motors Racing officially announced today its contention in the AFT Super Twins class for the 2021 season of American Flat Track Racing. On the heels of an announcement of support by Harley-Davidson Motor Company, fans anxiously awaited confirmation that the 2020 AFT Production Twins champion, James the Rocket Rispoli, would return as the pilot of the Lattice Motors racing machine. Today, the Hog Spoli fanbase will rejoice as team owner George Lattice proudly confirms that Rispoli will indeed pilot his championship-winning machine in the premier class of the AFT. So, very cool news over there for our friends over at AFT. There's going to be some more news starting to trickle on out here very, very hot and heavy, very, very quickly, because the beginning of their season is in March. So from now until March, you're going to see all sorts of crazy news breaking loose about, you know, now everyone's wondering, like, what happened to all these racers that used to race for Harley-Davidson and Vance and Hines? Where the hell are they going? And are certain people going to bump to a different class? And are other people going to move to another class? Anyway, the minute I know all of that, I'm going to bring it to you here on the show. Another bit of news in racing. I talked last week, I did a Fun Fact Friday talking about the Dakar race that's going on right now. There's only, I think, 1 or 2 more days left. And I did a really nice show about it on Friday. If I do say so myself, feel free to click on over to my Jacqui Van Ham official page or cruise down thread here at Choppertown to go look for that show. I talked about all sorts of cool stuff going on and some of the results going on over there, including the man who is at the top of the box so far, Mr. Toby Price. Toby Price, unfortunately, just yesterday, I believe, had a pretty serious crash. I believe he had a concussion. He definitely broke his collarbone, and he is out of the Dakar race as of right now, which is unfortunate because he had been leading. And that puts American privateer Ricky Brabec a little bit higher in the standings. So unfortunately, because of Toby Price having this catastrophic incident, which, by the way, Ricky did pull over and make sure he was okay until more people could arrive on scene. Toby Price was airlifted out of the race, but he was conscious. He's okay. He's going to be okay. But Ricky Brabec now has been pushed a little bit higher in the standings because of this incident. He's currently in second place during the Dakar rally. Like I said, I think they only have 1 or 2 more stages to go. So this is pretty exciting. An American has a chance on winning this year's Dakar rally. So congratulations to Ricky Brabec. Get well soon. To Mr. Toby Price. And then, unfortunately, a little bit more Dakar news. And I did talk about this man on Friday. And then just like right hot on the heels of that show, we found out that, unfortunately, Hubert Auriel, who is literally, to me, in my mind, the godfather of the BMW GSPD, which is the Paris Dakar, he passed away due to COVID. So Godspeed to Hubert Auriel. I hate bringing you this terrible news. This man was super lively and still was out racing and showing up at races and was just a really, really incredible human being. And very, very well known and beloved for fans of Dakar. The king of Dakar was only 68 years old. The Dakar Rally has given us some greats over the years. From Cyril Neveu taking the first championship, to Stefan Peter Hansel racking up 6 titles, to Ricky Brabec conquering the 2020 competition, the annual rally raid has produced countless legends of the sport. One such icon was 3-time Dakar championship Hubert Auriel. The king of Dakar has died at 68 due to COVID. So some really crummy news coming out of on the heels of the Dakar rally. Godspeed to Hubert Auriel. And a little bit more racing news. Another bit of a COVID casualty is going to be the MotoGP is still very, very up and down. They have firmed up their schedule, but as far as preseason goes, the Sepang MotoGP test has been canceled. The early part of the 2021 calendar is still subject to change. The MotoGP test at Sepang, due to be held from the 19th through the 21st of February, has been canceled, Dorna announced this week. The King of Malaysia, at the request of the Malaysian government, has declared a state of emergency in Malaysia, which is due to last all the way through until August 1st. The state of emergency has been declared in an attempt to stem the COVID-19 pandemic, which continues to spread around the world. The cancellation comes despite the best efforts of Dorna and the circuit to make the Sepang test as self-contained as possible. Everyone, riders, teams, and officials would travel between the hotel and the circuit only, with no time outside of the MotoGP bubble. However, unfortunately, they have gone ahead and decided to cancel that test, but there is still testing going on from March 10th through the 12th in Qatar. That is still on the books. That is still scheduled. The situation in Qatar is still relatively stable. The case numbers and deaths are still very low and showing only a small rise over the winter. So that's what's going on. Now, due to all of that being said, however, now it just kind of even firms up what I mentioned on a show last week or 2 weeks ago, which is the fact that MotoGP, the actual schedule for MotoGP, which kicks off in end of March, beginning of April, Now there's an awful lot of question marks, and one of the dates that's at the very beginning of the calendar, which was going to be or still is on the schedule, is going to be the race in Austin, Texas. The American MotoGP at Circuit of the Americas is slated for the middle part of April. Now it makes me even question, is that even going to happen? Are they going to be able to make it over here? That's an awful lot of travel for all of these European folks to come over to the U.S., to have to quarantine before they come and after they go. And it just makes it even more of a bit of a roll of the dice as whether MotoGP is going to be happening here in the United States. So stay tuned. As always, whenever I have any of this news for you, I always bring it to you here on the program. So make sure you hit that notifications on button. You are not going to want to miss it. Now, as far as events go, this weekend there is a couple of events going on here in the United States, one of which is an indoor flat track race going on down in Priceville, Alabama. This is towards the very, very top part of Alabama, so any of my Alabama, Floribama, Georgia, Tennessee folks especially should be putting this on your calendar. This is January 16th. That is this Saturday at the Celebration Arena in Priceville, Alabama. This is a Winter National ARMA Historical Motorcycle Racing Association event. The president, I believe, of ARMA, the dirt side of ARMA, is Mr. David Aldana himself. So I bet you David Aldana is going to be there, who is one of my buddies in real life, but is also a legendary motorcycle racer. He is going to be there. There's also going to be hooligan classes, pro classes, amateur classes, tons of kick-ass stuff going on. I was hoping to make it down to this event. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to, but you should be putting this on your calendar instead and going for me and having a hell of a good time. Again, this is January 16th, indoor flat track races in Priceville, Alabama. A great big huge pro singles purse, a great big huge super hooligan and hooligan purse, tons of kick-ass stuff going on in Alabama. Also for my Southern friends, this is the beginning of a 3-stop run for the folks at Supercross. This is round 1, round 2, and it's not on the slide, but round 3 is also going to be in Houston, Texas. That's right. They're having their first 3 stops here in the next week or so. These races are a bit of back-to-back-to-back. The first 2 are going to be January 16th, which is this Saturday, and January 19th is round 2. Both of these are in Houston, Texas. These are open to spectators. Super, super good news. They also, of course, have this streaming or whatever over on NBC and all that kind of fancy jazz. But if you are in the Texas area, you should be putting this on your calendar because that sounds like a hell of a good time. I do love me some Supercross. So again, this weekend in Houston, Texas, January 16th and the 19th, it's our friends over at Supercross have their first 2 rounds going on down in Texas. What do you guys think about that? An awful lot of kick-ass news going on out here in motorcycle land and a couple of little events coming your way. They're starting to head back towards the calendar. Obviously, racing is going to be the big conversation for this year because it's a hell of a way to still participate and enjoy and love and spectate with motorcycles, but still be kind of distant and outside or in great big huge stadiums and arenas where you've got plenty of room to spread out. So I think racing is still going to be at the top of the conversation going into 2021. As always, give me a like over on my page, the Jacqui Van Ham official page here on Facebook. Give me a like, turn the notifications on. I move all of my videos over there the second I wrap them up over here. And go ahead and peek into the comments. Come on over. Say, hey, let me know where you're tuning in from. I always love to hear from you guys. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's show. I know there's nothing else to watch on TV right now, right? But I'll be back on Friday with another Fun Fact Friday, so make sure you come back. You are not going to want to miss it. Have a great day, everybody, and I will see you on Friday. Thank you so much to my awesome show partners for the past year, Vroom, Retract, Vac, VroomYaRoom.com, TwoStrokeTees.com, free shipping in the U.S., Choppertown Nation. I couldn't do without you guys tuning in, clicking, liking, and most importantly, sharing all of these videos with your friends here on the socials.